We have only started.
The World Trade Organization is the only international organization dealing with the global rules of trade between nations. Its main function is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. The result is a more prosperous, peaceful, and accountable economic world.
This is the beginning, and everything's at stake.
There's only one thing that the ruling interests have ever wanted, and that's everything.
What we are against is trade at any cost.
This is not about trade. This is about a corporate constitution.
We're pitted to be pitted against each other in a race to the bottom. Who will accept the most miserable working conditions?
State of civil emergency.
What's the emergency? Do they see somebody breaking the law? If they see somebody breaking the law, do their damn job and arrest them. Don't come and gas indiscriminately.
They're coming in and they're shooting off all sorts of shit, and their police are doing all the violence here.
First and time. 1 block north of First
And if you look at injuries sustained from officers striking someone with a nightstick, there are none. So I think the officers have showed remarkable restraint throughout the event, remarkable poise, and I am incredibly proud of their performance.
The police will be doing everything, and everything they can and their very best in a confusing and complex situation to distinguish between lawful, peaceful protesters and people who are practicing vandalism and unlawful behavior.
Chemical warfare on civilians, and that's against the Geneva Convention. It's under international law. They're violating international law by gassing their own citizens.
That's what that is right there, man. Right there. Get that dude in the picture right there. That's what that guy is.
I got some pure gas. My eyes and yeah.
What?
Bonnie Watson.
Are you
familiar with Bonnie Watson?
Store. For real. And that guy was stealing his shit.
And we got maced, and we got sprayed, and I'm tired of this shit. There it is.
Look at this pepper spray right here.
We ain't doing nothing.
I mean, tear gas.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tear gas right there.
We're tired, man. Hey, we live on the streets. There's no reason for them to be doing this to us. Because we're homeless, man. Get off our face, man.
I don't like the fact that the horses don't have gas masks on. The officers on top of them do.
I'm sort of battalion about 40.
I have to tell you that I have absolute confidence in their capability and the actual performance that they have displayed over the last several days. I think they have done just an outstanding job.
The rich defend the people, not the rich defend the people.
And yet the people are not, seem to be in favor of it.
Yeah, well, the people
United will never be divided. The people
are
not being well served by the demonstrations that are going on here.
Well, they don't feel they're being well served by the World Trade Organization, sir.
No, I think a lot of people do.
Well, workers aren't going to get any more exploited than they are now. If anything, it's going to help the third world nations.
Yeah, it's like, where do you draw the line? You know, you're not going to wear Nike tennis shoes? Are you not going to wear, you know...
Well, don't you think the people who make the tennis shoes should get paid a fair wage?
Sure, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Fair enough.
What's fair in one country is different in another.
Well, I don't think a lot of people in these streets feel that way.
Yeah, this is a small percentage. But
this is a small percentage of what?
People who are you with?
You get pepper spray?
Tear gas grenade.
You picked one up?
I picked one up. Now it's gonna take it home. And the cops jumped on me.
All right, open your eyes. Okay, cool.
Here, I'm gonna throw baking soda on you. Okay? Okay, close your eyes. Close your eyes.
I'm just a bystander, you know.
Oh.
Sorry.
It helps.
Doesn't take out the burning, man.
What happened, man?
I'm just a bystander, you know, walking through to catch my bus.
McDonald's, why are they trying to push us down here? We're just trying to sit here and be nosy. Can we be nosy in the seat? They're doing unnecessary tear gas. Unnecessary.
We had to run. My son dragged me through the goddamn alley and everywhere to get away from the stuff.
Are you guys with the National Guard?
Yes.
Did you just arrive, or you've been here all weekend?
We've been here all day. We're here just to keep the peace, that's it. Our opinions are our own, and that's why we try to keep them, and because it's just here to make sure that the people don't have no problems.
We came here because we have got a big problem in Chile. Since a long time that there are coming big companies from the United States trying to cut down our forests.
The Global Free Logging Agreement is a plan by the World Trade Organization to increase logging worldwide by eliminating trade barriers to forest products such as wood and paper.
This is an agreement that has been negotiated completely in secret without any input from non-governmental organizations, and we're here to send a very clear message to the Clinton administration that the Global Free Logging Agreement is completely unacceptable.
Even their own study shows that it will increase logging in the most sensitive and biologically rich forests of countries like Chile, Indonesia, Malaysia, countries where timber corporations are heading already because they don't have very good environmental laws, they don't have good labor laws, and they have lots of virgin forests left.
What is meant to Indonesia is one of the largest producer of timber is increase the logging.
Our forests are very special in the world. There are not other forests like ours in all over the world.
Yeah, so we already lost 50% of our forest, and now with this agreement we predict that we will increase 6% of our logging or exploitation of timber.
This came from a briefing with the U.S. Trade Representative's office. Okay? With a bunch of forest protection groups. And it confirmed all of our worst fears.
Yeah?
They're selling off the forest. They want to sign this free logging agreement this week. This week they want to finalize it. They want to put into the next round all of our protections for raw log export bans, invasive species, eco-labeling, all those things are going to be on the table. The MAI, the whole investment agenda.
The industry's mouth is watering right now because they expect huge increases in wood and paper consumption as a result of the Global Free Logging Agreement. Needless to say, this is the same industry that's been lobbying the Clinton administration heavy, that gives a lot of campaign donations to administrations and government officials and politicians, not just in the United States, but in other countries as well. These logging industries and these wood and paper industries are extremely excited about the free logging agreement.
It's insane to use these forests without to have enough information.
When we look at what things like the Global Free Logging Agreement are going to do to our environmental protections and what the World Trade Organization intends to do with our environmental protections, it's egregious. It's just plain wrong.
Laws protecting the environment and human rights that were enacted through valid democratic processes are superseded by trade agreements that have had absolutely no input from democratic processes. People, we were completely left out. Now, Weyerhaeuser Corporation, which we're here to protest, is part of the Industry Advisory Committee that has advised the United States Trade Representative on these agreements.
Well, we've won essentially on a number of domestic fronts through the democratic process. So the timber corporations have gone to the international trade realm, which is out of the democratic process. There's no access for non-governmental organizations, for citizens, for activists to participate. It's just the governments and the corporations.
Well, Charlene Barshevsky is our representative, is representing the Clinton administration as the lead negotiator in the WTO. And as I understand it, she's an attorney. She has a background lobbying for Canadian timber interests. And this is part of the whole revolving door system that has plagued our government for years. She has to understand that we will not accept any kind of trade negotiation regimen that threatens important laws like the Endangered Species Act, the Clean Air Act, both of which have already been eroded through trade agreements under NAFTA and the WTO.
The news cameras are more interested in covering, the chaos rather than the substance of what's going on inside.
And so I go over there, and it ends up being a certified NGO who's in the conference, listening to all the closed-door legislation they're doing, and it's Victor Minotti.
I haven't heard any news other than that the third world wants to change the rules on fracking.
There was a police car waiting to the left of me on 4th Avenue, behind the police cordon, and they opened up, they zipped in, they popped open the door, they threw Victor in, and they were gone. And it was that quick.
The corner of 5th and Church.
And I think 99% of the people that have been involved in demonstrations all this week have been involved peacefully.
By setting up a no protest zone, basically police lumped all protesters together and interfered with the rights of people who are doing perfectly lawful things to express their views on a major political issue that's currently getting a lot of attention.
Yesterday, my boyfriend and my mother went downtown to see what was going on.
And I don't think they should get arrested. Let them demonstrate and express solidarity with their brothers and their friends and their comrades in the manner that they're doing. They're not hurting anything.
And they were clearly a mile out of the protest-free zone when, standing on a corner, a couple hundred people, when they were surrounded by police cars, and actually the tanks, the armored tanks, and without any provocation or warning, then they started loading them onto buses.
We have not been read our rights. We have not been told our charges. They just loaded us up, and here we are.
They were forced to, on the bus, relieve themselves on the bus. They wouldn't let them out to do anything. And they refused them any legal counsel.
We have been arrested without being charged, and we are being detained here without being charged, and we'd like to speak with our lawyer.
I want to speak to a lawyer.
I just got a phone call from him from inside of the prison. And he sounded very, very meek, very, very broken, very tired. He hasn't slept at all.
I've witnessed things in the last 4 days that I didn't believe could happen in America.
And he actually said he saw people beaten right in front of him at the King County Jail. He was very adamant that he couldn't even begin to tell me the things that he's seen.
Agreed to have the riot police here stand down. There will be no tear gassing. There will be nothing. Just to stand down on the police.
We are not going away. Tomorrow, the day after, they're continuing negotiations. That we will not go away. We will come back tomorrow. We will come back the next day. We will make sure they are out. We will be at the mayor's office, in front of this jail, at Sandpoint, wherever we have to fucking go to make sure that every single one of them is out.
As a result of the sit-in and the direct action and this incredible rally and march, the lawyers now have access to the political prisoners that have been taken captive in the last 2 days here in Seattle. They have the right to meet with them in large groups and make consensus decisions, and they have the right to have an organizer with them. So that's an incredible achievement. I mean, we're now enjoying more than our constitutional rights rather than less than our constitutional rights.
I think that this is the beginning of a national and international movement against the elite, outrageous power of multinational corporations.
We will stop this war against the earth. We will stop the war against the small farmers. We will stop the war against our bodies.
I would never knowingly permit a single pound of any American food product to leave this country if I had a shred of evidence that it was unsafe.
Genetic engineering allows scientists to move genes across species barriers in many ways not possible through conventional breeding techniques. Some sources for these genes include bacteria, viruses, and even animals.
But everybody must understand, we have nothing to hide, and we're eating this food too.
Just think what's happened in the United States this century with the bioinvasive alien species like the gypsy moth, like the chestnut blight that wiped out the most important tree in the eastern United States practically overnight. Now we have the zebra mussel plague. Here and everywhere we have this incredible damage, over $100 billion a year damage done to our economy by these exotic species. That should scare us into being very careful about introducing new exotic things. One reason we're here at Safeway is that we wrote the major grocery stores and asked them to go free of genetically engineered ingredients. Safeway wrote back and said it's really not possible. Most of the stuff on all the grocery store shelves in the United States has genetically engineered ingredients. Our estimate is that 70% of the food people are eating today has these genetically engineered ingredients.
The reason most people don't have an idea of the risks is because for a whole decade there has been a scientific censorship about looking at these risks. A very convenient tool called the substantial equivalence principle was cooked up to say, let's just treat genetically engineered organisms like conventional crops.
The FDA's policy is not science-based. In fact, we have 3 groups in the United States government: EPA, the Agriculture Department, and the Food and Drug Administration. And none of them have checked out the long-term consequences of eating genetically engineered food. None of them can tell you what a diet of this would do to you over 10 years or 20 years. We're experimenting with our families and with our children. And what does the stuff that they give us do? It's not any better nutritionally or cost-wise. It's a big scam because the major corporations like Monsanto want to control every aspect of agriculture.
A lot of what the Food and Drug Administration in the US has used to show the supposed safety of these foods has come from industry itself. There isn't really a lot of independent research that's been done to establish what the ecological hazards might be from GE foods.
Many of us are concerned with what its implications will be in terms of class and race issues. We know with organic foods there are huge populations, pockets of society, which are unable to buy organic food. Are we talking about creating a society where the rich might be able to afford to buy foods which are labeled that they're free of GMOs, and leaving the inner city communities, people of color, low-income communities being forced to eat foods which we are not sure if they're environmentally safe and as far as our health concerns are concerned, if they're safe or not?
Well, what's happened in England is that there's been really a total collapse in the market for GM agriculture. People over there, once they realised they were being fed food that they didn't want to eat, and once they saw Monsanto's advertising campaign, which was trying to make them feel guilty about blocking developments that would feed the world, it's obviously patent rubbish, people got very angry and they've decided they don't want to eat it.
Campesinos nuestros, hermanos nuestros en la India, en Brasil, han quemado, destruido plantaciones de organismos genéticamente modificados de algodón, maíz, soya y otros. Principalmente de Monsanto, la transnacional norteamericana, Cargill y Novartis. Entonces, no a los organismos genéticamente modificados.
What is happening is that you have to buy the seeds to be able to grow. If farmers get hooked on this, it's not only farmers in the south who are going to suffer, it's farmers in the north as well.
But even in the United States, where more than 1,500 farmers have been sued for pirating seed when all they did was save seed, which is what farmers must do. It is their moral duty.
And one can say that our seeds that we have are a product of this long-term process of selection, natural selection. So it belongs to our society, to our culture.
We are here in Seattle also at the World Trade Organization because this body is about to perpetuate the Frankenfood experiment on the entire planet. It's bad enough that the Clinton administration did this to the American people. Now he's trying to get all of the world to accept this.
I always thought you traded because somebody had something that you couldn't grow or you couldn't produce yourself. I always thought that was the reason for trading, not because you wanted to force what you have down somebody else's throat, even if they have a surplus of that same commodity in their own country. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, the thing is, food is the common denominator. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. And if people are eating unhealthy food, I mean, they can survive. There'll be something resembling a human continuing to exist. But just like anything else, it's like if you got a car, you be putting jacked off gas up in it, it's not gonna work right.
First of all, I want to see what they're talking about and learn more about the WTO. I kind of know what it's about a little bit, not too much, but I'm just here to see what it's about. And people didn't come here from different states for nothing.
I come from a sugar factory in Minnesota, and I'm here for our brothers and sisters in the labor movement.
We used to have 47 dairies in our county. Now we have 3, and they're all in financial trouble.
And it's a sad, sad thing to see abandoned farms and see schools abandoned and housing in small towns and small businesses all abandoned.
Well, when you look at it, you see that there's approximately 5 companies in the entire world that control nearly 100% of all the grain in the world.
And so if you have farmers in North America, if you have farmers otherwhere, they're not getting the profits from food. It's global corporations that are acting as middlemen.
And you wonder why the farmer worldwide doesn't control his own market and why he's suffering low prices and why he's being shoved aside.
Oh, this is beautiful. I knew that something was going to happen this year that was going to mess up their whole New World Order thing. I didn't know what it was. But this is it. This is mess up the whole New World Order thing because the American people are the last people to wake up. Because American people are so completely controlled by the mass media and the advertisement out of Hollywood, they were kept asleep during all this time period. So now this is waking them up as to what the real deal is. When America wakes up, it's all over for the multinationals.
When workers realize that they've got the same interests as farmers, as students, as environmentalists, not letting corporations have all the power. There has to be some balance.
Well, I'm here for the same reason that I've been here for everything else, is to protest the corporate takeover of everything, including our food supply and the safety of food. I'm very concerned about genetically modified food and the way it's being forced on the world's people, and I think that here in the United States we have been in a news blackout until recently when Europe and Indian people have been protesting, and it's been getting into our news here now that this is happening. We have the opportunity to really educate the American people about this because we know that they don't want it.
Well, I just want to let everybody know that the black farmers were the canaries that were sent down the mine shaft first, and they saw how they can get rid of us, and now they're using the same tactics they used to get rid of us, to get rid of small farmers all over the world, and to get rid of small farmers here in America.
The WTO, it's a creature that does not listen to the people.
And that's why we wanted to be in the big march on the 13th. And this big march, farmers and workers were together in the first line. And for us, this was very important because it's the first time in the world story that we can make that link between workers and farmers. And I think that's the 21st century begin on the 30th of November. Workers, farmers, environmentalists, consumers, everybody has to work together.
Well, as always, we need to be eternally vigilant. We need to think about stopping the WTO, reforming the WTO to make it stand up for human rights, environmental rights, and the rights of our farmers to have a decent living, and also the rights of farm workers.
These kinds of campaigns will have to translate and multiply to various cities and states of United States and other countries of the world. And ultimately the people will win.
There are more farmers and more land. If equitably distributed and work to feed all the people in the world. We don't need test tube food by Monsanto.
My mama taught me years ago, don't ever put anything in your mouth unless you know where it came from.
We will never, ever in the future allow them to divide American farmers and Indian farmers, consumers from producers.
They can gas us as they've done this week. They can shoot us. They can herd us like animals down the street. They can rip up our Constitution in front of us.
They can't stop us, though. They can't stop us. They gassed us yesterday. They shot us yesterday. They had us cornered off on the streets. And still today, I mean, there's more people out than there were yesterday. The cops gave us an escort down here today. You know what I'm saying? They can't stop it.
You are now the messengers to go out to the countryside, to go into your churches, to go into the community organization, to link arms and build a coalition, not just with the bean sprout eaters. Get those snuff dippers on our side too. We've got to team up together and take power back for the people.
We came with a message to represent our people and say hell no, and we're taking a message back that we're more unified than ever, and we will win.
Was it Caesar Chavez? Maybe it was Dorothy Day. Well, some will say Dr. King or Gandhi set them on their way. No matter who your mentors are, it's pretty plain to see. If you've been to jail for justice, you're in good company. Have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your